Welcome to Oilers Nation Every Day with your hosts, Tyler and Liam.
In honor of the Edmonton Oilers' weekend performance, Liam and I will also refuse to do our jobs for the first 15 minutes. Let's get into it with the lead. Instead, you can all watch me play with this little piece of Scotch tape I found on my table. It's going to distract me for at least the first half of the show. Welcome into Oilers Nation Every Day, a fresh week of the program. We are live from the Sports Closet studio. Check them out online, sportscloset.ca. World Junior jerseys half price today. I'm kidding. That's a joke. I have no idea if they're on sale. The show's a presentation of Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You got something to say to me, Liam?
Not a word. I'm not doing anything until Devan gets here.
That's not until 12:30. That'd be the first 30%
These guys
of the
haven't shown up for weeks. Why should I show up today? On a Monday of all days. Black Monday, they're calling it.
Well, NFL, I think, what, 5 coaches have been fired?
NFL, 2 big ones in the soccer world. Manchester United manager sacked. Celtic manager sacked.
I was about to say, Liam, not fired, sacked.
Sacked. Mm-hmm. The axe.
Mm-hmm. We do have Devan Dubnyk joining us in about 30 minutes time. He'll stop by, talk a little bit about the Oilers goaltending. Ingram.
Something wrong with it?
Well,
I would honestly say currently no.
Well, I mean, Calvin Pickard, we knew that one was coming. We'll talk more about the game in a second, but Calvin Pickard never gives you back-to-back great starts. The next one, we'll see. I'm optimistic, but it does look like Connor Ingram's going to get the game against Nashville, by the way. But we'll talk about that loss on Saturday to the Philadelphia Flyers. A very, very frustrating loss for an Oilers team that was supposed to be using this stretch of home games to really solidify themselves atop the Pacific Division standings. Instead, they have slipped their way. If you sort by points percentage, Liam, they have slipped their way to 4th in the division. I was going to say scale of 1 to 10. How much does that concern you? Your hand gestures would signal that you are not all that concerned about their placement.
I even accidentally typed in a message to the chat.
I
was
did just
down.
see that.
Zero concern. With the points percentage thing, I have concerns about the team in general. But
yeah.
Whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, they still haven't played Anaheim or LA yet this season, or San Jose. Vegas once. Like, when they start playing all these divisional games, which there is a few this month, then that's when I'll start to be like, oh, that's when I'm a bit concerned about the standings. But let's play our division first.
Well, only 6 points separate 7th and 1st place in the Pacific Division. Yeah. The Calgary Flames, Liam, if they were to win their game in hand, would only be 4 points back of the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, I don't see that happening, no, do you?
Well, I mean, no. But for a while there, it was certainly looking like the Oilers were, shall we say, out of the woods from their bad start. The month of December was tracking really, really well. We were talking about how if they would have beaten the Bruins on New Year's Eve, it would have been a 10-win month for the Oilers. And now you say here, you lose to the Bruins, you lose to the Flyers, who are both good teams. Mm-hmm. It's not like you lost to a couple of scrubs. The Flyers, as we talked about on Friday, one of the 5 teams in the Eastern Conference who have a points percentage of 600 or better. Like, losing to the Flyers is fine. I just think the more concerning thing from that game is losing to the Flyers the way that you did. Your schedule, I don't want to sit here and say your schedule ever gets easy. I don't want to sit here and say your schedule ever gets hard, because there's 2 things at play when you talk about the schedule in the Edmonton Oilers. One, you are a Stanley Cup contender. You are the Edmonton Oilers. There should be no stretch of your schedule that is overly difficult for the rest of the year, because even if you're playing good teams, you're playing them on home ice. So the schedule being too difficult can never be an excuse. You should never look at a week for the Edmonton Oilers and be like, oh boy, just go 500 here and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
On the flip side, the NHL being the way the NHL is right now, how many teams in the league? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are only 6 teams in the NHL who are below 500 in a point when it comes to points percentage this year. Like, there's no easy stretches either, is kind of my point. Like, that's why it's frustrating for this Oilers team, because they need to start having the mindset of, like, you need to battle every single night. We are now halfway through the season. This is no longer, we'll turn things on at some point. Like, you are now at the spot of your schedule where it's home game heavy, and now you've lost back-to-back home games. You're at the part of your schedule where if you're going to be a team, like Leon Draisaitl said in November, that, what did he say? His line was like, we know when we have to start playing our best hockey. Okay, that's now. That's not March. If you wait till March, I just said it, 6 points separates first from seventh in the Pacific. If you wait till March to turn this thing around and start playing your best hockey, or like Ekholm said, like, you know, they've played a lot of hockey the last 2 years. A slow start is, okay, we'll excuse the slow start then. But when do you start turning on the Jets is kind of my point. Because if it's not these last 2 games where you're home for the holidays, where you're on home ice for both of them, when's it going to be?
I don't want to overreact to these 2 losses, to be honest. Like, I just think they were just 2 poor games. I do wonder if a bit of the flu is going around the team. I mean, Podkolzin was supposed to practice and was out with a sickness, right? I don't think Draisaitl's come back and been himself. Nope. I think honestly it's coming down to the bottom 6, just literally doing nothing on most nights. And they're just relying too heavily on the top guys to come up and do it. And again, we can sit here and question the minutes all we want, but when you put out those other guys and they're doing basically nothing, then you have to rely on those top guys. And I think it becomes understandable why McDavid and Draisaitl and the rest of the company there are playing so heavily. With that said, it does look like the Oilers are going to get a little bit of help coming here, but I just think when you look around the division, like Vegas in their last 10, 2-5-3, the Oilers in their last 10, 5-5, Anaheim 2-6-2. Like, that's the top 3 teams in the Pacific Division. That's why I'm just not sitting here and worrying about it. I mean, they have come back
but this could have been your stretch to gain ground.
But it's not over.
You're right, I know.
It's just been 2 games, but like and they've not played well. I 100% agree. But
my concern now is, like, again, Vegas is probably too good to be this sluggish for much longer. Anaheim, I think Anaheim will sort things out. They're just a young team who I think maybe had to get humbled a little bit, but they still have, you know, Joel Quenneville, good veteran coach. Like, my concern is now if the Oilers go on a run where they go 8-2 over their next 10, which would be awesome, and I think they're fully capable of doing it. If they go 8-2, I'm now worried that it might perfectly line up with, Vegas went 8-2. They're looking like themselves again. Anaheim found a way to rattle off 4 straight wins, and you're not going to be able to, you know, to gain any ground on those teams, right?
You just got to beat them.
Yeah, and the head-to-heads are coming.
Yeah, then that's when I will grow concerned. Okay. When the Oilers start losing these head-to-head games. I mean, they've not been perfect in the division by any means. Obviously, losses to the bottom 3 teams already this season, which isn't ideal, but beat the top teams and you're in something. I'm just not overly concerned about the entire team because Walman's going to come back. I do think Kapanen will spark a little bit of something in this team and hopefully balance things out a little bit. I don't think Stan Bowman's sat on his hands right now thinking like, boy, I bet this bottom 6 will figure itself out. He has to be active. We kind of know a little bit that of Mangiapane, obviously, trying to figure something out there. So, yeah, I'm like a 3 out of 10 right now of where this team is at because they just had a really good stretch.
Can I tell you something crazy? I just looked it up, did the math.
Yeah.
The Olympic break starts a month from now, which means a month from now I'll be in Phoenix with my buddies. And oh, good Lord, as I scraped off my car today. That's all I was thinking about. A month. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say top, as part in the chat a couple of times, not a contender. I would say you do the inner circle, outer circle thing. I don't know if you do it a few times. They are definitely an outer circle team currently.
But still a cup contender. Yeah. And I laughed like it was, okay, actually, let me give you this stat and then I'll get into what I want to get into. The Olympic break starts a month from now. February 5th will be the first day of their Olympic break. They play 16 games before then.
Hell yeah.
Aaron, thoughts?
Not stoked, not totally stoked. But, dude, when I look at the schedule, I made this argument on pre-gaming that until, like, maybe the Washington-Anaheim game, I think the Oilers are favored on Bet365 in every single one of these games. And we know Jack Michaels had the stat, the Oilers in January, like 29-5-3 over the last couple of years. Granted, add 1 loss. Now that they lost to Philly. This is make or break time for the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm confident in a lot of these matchups. But I've also been burned before. But yeah, going to see a lot of his face on pre-gaming this month.
I want to do a poll of inner circle and outer circle for the Oilers. Can you explain to everyone what that is?
So Huts and I do it kind of like at the 25% mark of the season, 50, 75, 100. And it's basically, there's a lot of parity in the NHL. There's
evidently by the standings posted.
If you just get into the playoffs, you could say, like, you know, a lot of those teams are going to have a chance to, with good goaltending, get hot and win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But I think we'd all agree that there is a certain tier of teams in the NHL who are like the true, authentic inner circle cup contenders where, like, their roster, the way they're playing is good enough for them to win a Stanley Cup. There's an outer circle that's like some things would need to break right. Some guys would need to play well, but you could see a path to them getting to the Stanley Cup final. And then there's everybody else. So, like, right now, if I had to do this exercise on the spot, I think I have 5 inner circle Stanley Cup contenders in the NHL. Colorado, Dallas, Minnesota, all 3 of them. True, authentic inner circle, where like I think all 3 of them would have a legitimate chance to get out of that division. Mm-hmm. And once you're out of that division, either 2 things are going to happen. You're going to be beat to shit and you won't be able to contend with whoever's in the Western Conference Final, or it'll be like a breath of fresh air that you're like, oh my God, I don't, like if you're Minnesota and you get out of there, it's going to be like, oh my God, my opponent's not Dallas or Colorado anymore. This is a cakewalk.
Yeah.
All 3 of them legit inner circle cup contenders. Tampa Bay and Carolina are, in part because of their roster, in part by default of, I guess we'll call it the reverse of the Central. Their divisions are so terrible that Tampa Bay might close their eyes and get to an Eastern Conference Final. Carolina might close their eyes, blink, play 9 playoff games, and be in the Eastern Conference Final. So those 2 teams I include in there as well. My outer circle, Florida, because you're in there till you're not. Edmonton, because you're in there till you're not. 2 teams, back-to-back Stanley Cup finalists, clearly knows what it takes. All the veteran intangibles, they have it. Vegas is outer circle. Washington is maybe outer circle. But I think that's it.
So if I was to ask you at this point last season, before we obviously know what ended up happening, but would you have said the Oilers were in a circle or outer circle?
I'd actually love to go back on DFO now and find out, but this ties into the next thing I want to talk about.
I was going to say last season at this point, they played 39 games and had 51 points. This season, they played 42 and had 46 points. So is that a question? Is that questioning the Oilers, or is that questioning the league has just got a little bit better? I think that division has got much better.
Yeah, and San Jose is looking better. Like there's way more points being taken off the board by the bottom parts of their division.
Yeah.
But I laughed this weekend. I had a family Christmas thing with my mom's side of the family, Ukrainian Orthodox thing that happens early January, all that. Yeah. And was talking with one of my uncles. And he kind of said like, ooh, gonna have a lot of free time this spring. And I laughed to him and I said, you've said it every year. And every year they figure it out, right? But like, one, that's the reality of being someone who rides and dies with the waves and the emotions of this team. Like you and I do as well. But like, I don't know, man. It's very similar to, let me tie it to my football team. Like the Buffalo Bills are having a terrible season. Mm-hmm. Do you think any of the teams in the AFC want to play the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs?
No, certainly not.
No, we do not.
Right? Like if you were to get to if the Stanley Cup playoffs started today, and let's say the NHL adopted a thing where in order of standings, you get to pick your opponent for the first round. So the 8 playoff teams, or whoever the 8 playoff teams are right now, and Colorado gets to go to the podium and select their playoff opponent first.
It ain't Edmonton.
Nope. Okay, Dallas goes second.
It ain't Edmonton.
Minnesota goes third.
It's not Edmonton.
Right? Like no
Vegas,
one would
Edmonton, want to enjoy your game.
Well, that's what it would be, right? Like it would be everyone but Vegas and Edmonton get picked by those 3 central teams. Yeah. And like no one wants to play Edmonton. So in a way, Edmonton is the ultimate. Just get there and see what happens, which is why they're outer circle. When they get there, they'll need Jari to play well and all of those other things. And they'll need big performances and clutch goals, all that stuff. They're the ultimate get in. But I don't want that to excuse how poor they're playing right now.
Yeah.
Because what could also happen is you could get there and like Jason Demers said, we love using this line, they can't learn the lesson of it's not a switch you flip. It's a fader that you slowly bring up. You need to peak at the right time, but that's a slow build to that peak. You can't be down here and then wake up on whatever day it is, April something, night 1 of the playoffs, and just sit up and go, all right, we're going to start trying now because you're going to lose. And someone said, boys, it was John in the chat, if the playoffs started today, we would get Seattle. Yeah, and they should absolutely roll Seattle if they were to get them. But you won't just be able to roll out of bed and beat them in 4. Like, you're going to have to do things right. Anyways.
Actually, I think they could absolutely smoke Seattle in 4. That would be a 3-game series.
Well, I know, but they would have to like play to their best. I'm just saying, with what they did against Philly on Saturday, you aren't beating Seattle with that effort.
No, certainly not. I just went back and looked out of curiosity where players were at this point last season. So again, the games are a little bit different because Edmonton have played a few more this year because of the condensed schedule. It's also a layer of this as well, which is why the league, I think, looks so mushy. Zach Hyman, 20. Do you remember he had a very slow start to the season last year? He had 22 points, 13 of them goals in 34 games. This season, on only 23 games, has the same amount of points as he did this time last season. Riley Nugent Hopkins, 33 games this year, 33 points as well. 38 games last year, 22 points. Vasily Podkolzin, I think that's a good one. 4 goals, 14 points for Podkolzin. 9 goals already, 16 points for Podkolzin. The bottom 6, just obviously, we know, isn't contributing the way it needs to be. Arvidsson at this point had 11 points. Adam Henrique had 10 points at this point last season. He has 10 right now, but he had 3 goals. Kapanen had 6 points in 19 games. Yeah, interesting times in Oilville.
You're looking at the first 41 games of the year?
No, I just looked at the dates.
Okay, I was going to say, I'll pull up. So this is last year by the time the Oilers had played. Oh, no, they've played 42 now, so we got to go one more game.
There we go. I got it too.
By the time the Oilers had played 42 games last year, Nuge 14, Hyman 11, they had 7 goals from Corey Perry. They had 7 goals in 40 games from Jeff Skinner. Somehow that guy was getting health bombed for 2 games. Insane. Adam Henrique was up to 6 already. He ain't at 6, is he?
He must have. Well, in those 3 games, I just said he had 3 goals. So he must have had a bit of a decent run there. Interesting.
Yeah, I think he probably got hot. And you're right, Arvidsson had 5 and 27. So I don't know. Like you're definitely missing some contributions here from, again, like you don't have a Skinner lower in your lineup right now that's giving you 7 goals in 40 games. Maybe you could say it's Savoy.
Even Brown, 19 points in 42 games for Brown. He was 10th on the team in scoring. This time 10th on the team in scoring for the Oilers is Savoy's 13.
I mean, hey, like here's a counterpoint. Like last year at this point, the Oilers had 4 guys hit double digits in goals. This year they have 10 because Jack Roslovic exists, and like thank God Jack Roslovic exists. Mm-hmm. Like if Stan Bowman doesn't go out and sign him, if he sits there and goes,
where would they be?
Well, like, and I think a lot of GMs maybe would have sat there and been like, I'm not bringing him in. Well, shit, obviously other GMs did this because no one wanted to give him more than $1.5 million. Mm-hmm. But like, I think a lot of GMs sat there and went, I made my moves in the offseason. I'm going to be patient and see how they perform. Can you imagine if Stan Bowman would have been like, now, it's opening night, right? They're playing the Flames. Trent Frederick's on the first line. Remember that. Andrew Mangiapane scored. Can you imagine if he sat there and went, no, I'm not bringing in Roslovic because I need to see how all these other guys are going to play out. Like, thank God he's aggressive.
Yeah. Good question there from Hans Soso. You guys think the league got better, or do you guys are guys playing better just to get on national teams because of the Olympics?
There's like 1% of the league that plays in the Olympics.
But also, too, isn't it kind of the same? Like if the best players are better, playing better, and they're getting more wins for their teams. Like I just think when you look just in the Oilers division alone, Anaheim's significantly better. We all assumed they were going to take a big jump anyway. Yeah. San Jose has been crazy. I cannot believe how well they're doing. And also, too, when you just look at the other side, and there's obviously these teams that fall more, but like Minnesota is significantly better than what they were in previous years, just on a night-to-night basis. And even like a team like Chicago, Utah, are way more competitive than they have been in years past. That's just in the West.
Okay, I want to talk a little bit more about that game against Philly. So let's do a game recap. It's brought to you by our friends at Greta. Did you know there are 10 more home game days this month? Greta, a great spot, not just to watch the game, because there's also 4 road game dates, but also a great spot pregame, postgame, got a couple Saturday nighters. That's always a green light to hit the town after. Greta has got to be your spot. Arcade, bar, street food. Our friends at Greta have it all covered. And pretty good chance you're going to run into some people from Oilers Nation when you swing by there, because we tend to frequent that establishment quite a bit. So anyways, 10 home game dates this month. I want to talk more about the home game from this last Saturday that just, quite frankly, went terribly. Edmonton loses 5-2 to the Philadelphia Flyers. They were down 3-0 early on in that hockey game. And I actually thought it's funny. The first 3-4 minutes of the game went pretty well. And then it just really went to shit. And I do think... Grab our mini sticks. I don't know where mine is. Found it. I don't want to point too much of a blame at the top 6, but we'll get a look at the goal that made it 1-0 here. That's just blown coverage. Like, you can't lose a guy on the rush like that. And the second line is on the ice for this one. There's a lot of standing straight up here on this rush. Not that those guys could have really done anything, but I think it's just more of a comment, I suppose, Liam, on like the general give a shit level of playing defense. Like, how is Jack Roslovic the one busting his ass? Like, where's Darnell Nurse?
Well, Nurse was with the defenseman coming in, and they switched. But Roslovic, you'll see, just as they get across the red line, kind of stops skating to an extent, or misses a step, I guess you could say. And that really was the difference, to be honest, in why Denver Barkey got to the net. But also, too, like, credit to Barkey, because we talked about this with Ryan Lomberg the other day. I think he was playing in the bottom six. Either way, he's not a regular contributor.
He's played like 4 fucking NHL games, so regardless.
Just gets to the net. Like, I would love to see more Oilers play like this, especially in the bottom six. Create your own madness.
Yeah, totally. So it's 1-0 on a goal from Denver Barkey, who's got his first career NHL goal. So the second one here on NHL.com, it says Travis Sanheim unassisted. But as we roll the tape, I'm pretty sure he gets a pass right on his tape. Let's take a watch.
Let's take a quick peek.
Well, before this goal, by the way, I mean, Nurse,
what a pass.
Nurse puts it right on his tape.
Daryl.
Couple seconds before that, Vasily Podkolzin has a chance to pick up the puck on the half wall and just doesn't handle it well. That's a mistake from a guy in Podkolzin that I'm willing to excuse because he's played so much good hockey this year that, like, sometimes shit's going to happen. He's sick. He's under the weather. As much as I hate making excuses for guys, I'm willing to excuse the Podkolzin moment that happens 15 seconds before this. Darnell Nurse, veteran defenseman. I don't care if you make $900K or $9.2 million. Like, you can't do that. I know he's under a bit of pressure, but like, you need to make a harder play with the puck. Knock it to the half wall where at least someone's not going to fucking score.
You can just put it right to the corner. That's probably fine.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah, like anywhere, almost anywhere else in the middle of the ice would have been preferred. Even like
he could have taken a step with it.
Yeah, he had a bit of time there. Even like Podkolzin and Roslovic, I think it was, both going to that puck line. One of you has to commit to going getting that. You have to play harder defense. And they were let down again.
So what's funny is that second line was on the ice for both goals against, but in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, they created like 3 high danger scoring chances. And I was like, man, this second line is buzzing right now.
Yeah.
The fact they were dashed too, I think was, again, it sucks. And some of it's on them. Some of it's also not on them. Like, what are they supposed to do when Darnell Nurse puts it on that guy's tape? Like, you can't constantly cover for those mistakes.
Yeah, you need better plays from Nurse there. You've been around long enough that you can't just...
Well, we're a broken record with it, though, right?
You got to just put it in the corner. Like, honestly, like, if you feel like you're under that much pressure, just... You can get it on the glass there. Anyway, you know what I mean? Like, it just feels like an easier play than he made it... Than how difficult he made it seem.
Darnell Nurse maybe sitting there going, like, I need to take a timeout. Maybe I need to be benched. So he just fights a guy. Right? He goes, Chris, I'll make the decision for you. I'm going to skip a couple shifts here. Goes, takes a 5-minute fighting major. Anyways.
I'm glad he fought. I think he got a little bit too much criticism for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, they're swinging. And I mean, when your team's down 3-0, like, this is what I want. A guy with a letter on his chest who admittedly cost you one of those 3 goals. Yeah, go out there and try spark your team. Get the crowd into it a little bit. So I like that Darnell Nurse does this. I'm not criticizing at all for this. Like,
no, I just saw people online were harsh on it. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, well, why? Like, Hathaway, one of the toughest guys in the league. You're down 3-0. Your team has no effort. The crowd, they had nothing to cheer for. Give him something. I think Nurse is one of the tougher players in the league, and I think there's 2 reasons why he doesn't fight more regularly. One, they need him to play heavy minutes. It's relied upon. And 2, I don't think many guys want to fight him.
No.
He was chasing this fight for weeks.
He was.
Shout out to hockeyfights.com, by the way, for the film. Okay. Oilers are down 3-0. They eventually turn things around. Connor McDavid at the end of the period picks up a great feed from Matthias Ekholm. He cashes that in, so they make it 3-1. The feeling of seeing Connor McDavid go in all alone on a goalie like this is one that I will never get tired of. Just watching it and being like, well, this is going in the net. Like, when he has this much time, he's not missing all that often.
No, very rarely. You're putting the odds on him to get that one. And good play by Ekholm, too, to pick that pass off. I mean, terrible pass as well by Olympians Travis Sanheim. Yeah.
Wait. Can you imagine if Evan Bouchard did that?
Well, he did.
Well, in this game, I know. But, like, it's just like, I agree, good defensemen make really dumb mistakes when they got to carry the puck sometimes. It happens. 3-1, Bouchard, Bouch-Bomb, 3-2 for the Edmonton Oilers. They were right back in this hockey game going into the third period. The second period, I thought they were very, very good. What were the shot totals and stuff in the second period? Like, if you include the power play?
I believe Pickard at one point had to make 18 straight saves.
That's what I mean. There was a moment in time where, and I guess it was early in the second period because it fell apart at the end, but there was a moment in time where you were like, damn, the Edmonton Oilers are right back in this hockey game. They went the first 10 minutes of the third period without a shot on goal.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so many different ways to look at this. It's inexcusable that they come out that flat in the third period. When you have a chance to erase a 3-goal deficit, you're on home ice, you've gotten the crowd back into it, and then you just your brain just shuts off. Like, It's wild. But I also do think Connor McDavid, the power play, they get a power play goal. Connor scores a big one. Like, the big guns kind of did their thing in this one.
Which they typically do.
This was, in my opinion, just a product of, like, Connor and Leon go out. They have a good shift. They have a power play. Like, other teams take power plays that they don't score on, and they turn it into positive momentum, and they start, tilting the ice a little bit. The Oilers, the power play expires, and it's just like, oh, well, I guess the third line needs a shift now, and then you lose all your momentum. Like, this was such a game where if either one of those two bottom six lines, and yes, I am including the kid line in this because they weren't good.
They didn't do much, no.
They got outshot 7-1.
Yeah. And I think people will point to it, well, they didn't play. It's like, okay, again, like when you play, you need to do something with those minutes as well. And Knobloch trusted them at the end, and you can say rightly or wrongly on that fourth goal, he put that kid line out there. And Savoy obviously didn't win the face-off, and
he can't. I love Matt Savoy. He is not a centerman in the NHL.
But Knobloch made the point in his post game of being like, I put him out there for two reasons. The first reason being we needed some offense, and he felt like these guys, three offensive guys, if you get the puck up the ice, you're good. And somebody asked, it might have been Reed Wilkins, to be honest. He said, "Well, Savoy isn't a center. Like, why did you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I can't just put my top six out there every single face-off to try and win me a face-off." He's like, sometimes I have to trust my other guys. And he said Henrique was available, but again, he pointed to the offense and said like we needed the offense. And like he also said, he's like, Draisaitl lost defensive zone draws in the third period. He's like, this one unfortunately just went in the back of the net. And I thought in the moment, I'm sure many of you guys did too, is like, why did they do that? Like, go with someone else to win it. But I think they've shown on many, many occasions how much they trust Matt Savoy. They put him out there for a 5-on-3 earlier in the season.
And they got immediately scored on because he lost the draw. But
like, we all clamor for these guys to be put in hard situations. And they do it, and it goes against them, and then we get upset. I don't think I can be upset with it. I don't think those three guys play together. It was always going to be a risky one, but I liked the upside in that, however long it was we talked about it. I don't think that's the other at practice today, either way.
No, they weren't. And we'll talk about the practice lines a little bit later on. You're right. You can't speak out of two sides of your mouth and criticize the coaching staff for not giving the bottom six opportunities. And then when he gives them a chance right there to win a big draw and have a big shift, right? Like, and you can't be mad in that instance that it's like, oh, you didn't put Connor and Leon on the ice. Also, if there was 90 seconds left in the game, I would have been like, you know what? Yeah, you need to be a little bit more sure there if you're the head coach. There's 10 and a half minutes left in a hockey game.
Yeah.
You can't just play Connor and Leon for the final 10 minutes of every single hockey game when you're down by a goal or two. Thirdly, God damn it, you need a save there. And if that was a goal to put the Flyers up 1-0 with 10 minutes left, I would have been like, you know what? Calvin Pickard stopped so many chances. He gave up 3 goals in that game. It was not a perfect game, or it wasn't a perfect first 40, even though he was pushed, even though he had to make 18 straight saves. It's like, yeah, man, sometimes goalies have to make a bunch of saves in a row. That's the nature of the position. I don't want to sit here and rag on the goaltending too hard in Edmonton, but I feel like this is where we've been conditioned a little bit with the goaltending we've gotten over the last year, where it's like, you can't blame Pickard for that when he played good for 15 minutes before that. Dan Vladar played good for 40 minutes for the Flyers. He gave them the win. Like, Calvin Pickard has to stop that puck. I know there's traffic and there's screens, and maybe we can get Doobie's thoughts on it, but like...
Can we see it again?
Yeah, we can watch it one more time. It's a wrist off in the blue line.
From Nick Seeler, first goal of the year.
From Nick Seeler. That puck needs to be stopped. Yes, win the faceoff. Yes, the bottom six had to be better in this hockey game. No, they didn't deserve 2 points on this afternoon against the Flyers. But damn it, you probably... like, again, they hadn't had a shot in the third period up until this point. Inexcusable effort all the way around. And I guess this is just maybe me, Liam, doing a very, very long-winded... It's not all on the goalie, but it's a little on the goalie.
I think with this one, too, where typically I would be like, well, look at the bodies in front. I think if he's just in better positioning, that puck should just hit him. Like, it didn't really, it's not like it hit the corner, you know what I mean? Like,
yep.
There was a few bodies, there's no doubt about it. You want Quinn Hudson to get in the lane there. I don't know if it deflected a little bit later, I'm not sure, but it does look like it just goes straight through. Czech Cham Man is in saying that Ingram's an AHL goalie.
Yeah.
Well, Ingram's given you 4 games. 3 of them have been quality starts. He's had 1 bad game. I don't think it's fair to be like, how could he do this? So
I'm with you on the
I'm not out on Connor Ingram yet. I think Calvin Pickard's had a long run here. I think there's a couple of things that have been interesting this last couple of days with Connor Ingram too. Is number one, Isaac Howard brought up his sticks from Bakersfield.
That's a sign.
Which you can take it either way. Maybe he ran out of sticks. I don't know. Maybe they think Ingram Jory's out for a little bit longer than expected, and it's nothing to do with that. The other side of it too, he got Edmonton Oilers pads. Did you see that? He got brand new pads.
Okay, but I also heard that those were
they from Bakersfield?
His cream set from Bako.
Okay.
That I think Ike Howard also may have brought up.
Interesting. Okay.
Either way, he's got his gear up
like
here.
He's here with his gear.
Yeah.
So I take that for what it's worth.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's our breakdown of the game. Oilers come out flat. Again, you're down one. I'm not hanging the loss on that fourth goal because that's not what it is. I would be hanging the loss on it if the game was 3-3. Like if the Oilers came out flying in the third period, had 8 shots in the first 10 minutes, tied the game, and then that goal went in, I would be 100% hanging it on the goaltending. They were flat. The goaltending didn't steal them a game. The bottom line is, from the crease out, nobody on the ice gave you an effort outside of Connor McDavid that leads you to go, boy, they deserved a result tonight. Mm-hmm. They didn't. They were putrid. So
they were very bad. They've not had a good game since they came back from the Christmas break. And that's not me saying the Christmas break screwed them. That's just a milestone mark. Yeah. They had 4 bad games in a row. They should probably be 0-4 in that stretch.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? The Calgary game I think I would give them a half point on Calgary. Just because they hit the ball like 4 times, whatever it was.
7, I think.
Yeah, so I'll give them half a point.
Okay. Should we get up to the Star Mechanical guest line?
I would love to.
Edmonton's #1 plumbing and heating company. You can find out more by visiting them online at starmechanical.ca. Whether it's residential, commercial, 24/7 emergency services, they do it all, and they do it well. Like a good goalie. When things go wrong, Star Mechanical is there to backstop you. And speaking of good goaltenders and someone who we can trust to break down things at the NHL level, we welcome back Devan Dubnyk. How was your holiday break, Devan?
Oh, it was good. Very, very busy. It's nice to be back on here with you guys. That was a great little lead in there. I like that.
Yeah, that's why they pay me the medium bucks for ad reads like that. Are you back at the point where your kids are back at school? Like, is the house quiet again after Christmas?
They just got back today, and I'm like just slowly sorting life out. It was just every single day. It was just hockey, playing with them, doing stuff. It was amazing, but at the end it gets long, and it's like I don't even know. I'm piecing my life back together here slowly over the last couple hours.
Hey, your first day of peace and quiet when we put you right back to work popping on the show. But there are a lot of goaltending topics to get to here at the Oilers. Some other things we'll get your take on as well. But can we just play? I'm sure we can get away with it. Can we play the fourth goal from the other day for Doobie? I want to get his thoughts on this. It's a wrist shot from the point, maybe a bit of traffic. I just said this is one that absolutely can't go in. But what did you make of this goal that Pickard gives up here? Are we being too hard on him?
No, I think this is a situation. It's one of those ones so right here, right? There's got to be more work to find that puck is all. It is a screen. It's a crossing screen. I think the only thing is now you got to be fighting a little harder to find it there. Once you're up and looking, you can't see it. Again, there's bodies there, but there's not enough urgency for me, in that play to find the puck, especially you'll kind of see it here in the next replay, right? He makes one adjustment at the end, but when you get up top there and you can't see it at this point, you gotta know that it's coming. And he just doesn't look, super ready on that play, knowing that the puck's on the guy's stick off of a draw. There's a pretty good chance it's coming at the net. You just need to work to find it. And if you do work to find it and you don't find it, then you don't. But to me on that one, there just wasn't, enough urgency to find the puck through the screen.
Mm-hmm. It seems like if he was ready for it, almost just would have hit him. You know what I mean? Like if he was in a good position, he didn't feel like he had to do as much as he didn't do, I guess.
Yeah, and this is a little more technical goaltending side of stuff, but sometimes if you're not set and ready, then when you do go into that stance, you can see he drifts backwards as he gets into the stance. So if you're set and you're ready to drop into your stance, you usually hold your ice with your feet, and he's kind of laid back a little bit, and then he all of a sudden gets into a stance and is moving backwards and a little bit sideways flat as the puck comes to him, so he doesn't give himself the best chance to get it either.
Let's move away from Pickard for a second and go to Connor Ingram. We just had someone in the chat be like, Ingram's just an AHL goalie, and Oilers fans, some of them at least, frustrated after the game against Boston. Before that, though, he'd come up and given him 3 what I would call really quality appearances. And this is something we talked with you about, where like, hey, forget his American League numbers. Like, judge this guy based on how he looks at the NHL level, reading NHL plays behind an NHL defense. So with that in mind, 4 games in, how have you viewed Connor Ingram's impact on the Oilers?
Well, I think he's been good. And it's really like an eye test. It's like, you can see it the same way I can see it, where you're watching him and do you feel comfortable with him in the net? Does he look like an NHL goalie? Does he look like he's ahead of the play and he's not playing catch up the whole time? And I thought he's looked pretty good, and he's shown in the past that he can play at a high level in the NHL. So it's up to the Oilers, right? If this is the decision they want to make between Pickard and Ingram, on who's going to back up Tristan Jarry, and they're trusting Tristan Jarry's health through trying to win a Stanley Cup. If that's the decision they make, then they're going to have to make a decision on Ingram and Pickard. But that's where it gets tricky, is are they done with goaltending moves between now and the deadline? Because are you trusting Jarry's health? And then if he's not healthy, then are you trusting having Pickard and Ingram? The nice thing now with Ingram there that they hadn't had in the past was that if he does go down, they do have 2 goalies that can play hockey games, and they don't have a rookie guy in there that now you're forced to just throw the whole load on Calvin Pickard. You at least have 2 guys now that can both play, and they can try to get somebody hot. So it's going to be an interesting situation, because there's a lot that goes in the dressing room too. As a backup goalie, when Jarry's healthy, Pickard's a really well-liked guy. He works hard in practice. Guys like having him around. That all matters, especially when you have a guy that's not playing. You're not just going to punt him to the curb, but come playoff time, it could be up in the air if something happens to Jarry.
With Ingram, and maybe you can give more of a goalie answer than I can, but it seems like he's just more calmer, but also a little bit more aggressive in his net, in the sense of like when he actually attacks to make the save, it looks like he has structure behind him, where Calvin Pickard, we all know he's a bit of a road hockey goalie. He's very unique in that sense, and it's worked for him in the past, but it's very chaotic. Is that how you kind of see Ingram too?
Well, that's really it, right? Is you're going to feel more comfortable. And again, I hate saying anything bad about Picks, because I love him, and I think he does a great job, and especially in his role and everything. Like, he works his butt off, and he's a puck stopper, which I got a ton of respect for. You go stop the puck, you be a goalie, be an athlete, but he's not going to make you feel comfortable. He's just not. It's just the way he plays, and that's just, you are going to get that from Ingram. He's a more structured goalie. He's a better skater. It's going to look more natural and more calm when he's in the net, and that's just the way it is. And Picks, if he stops 39 out of 40, you're probably sweating the 39, but he's getting in front of him, and that's what he's done his whole career, and he's a battler. He's a puck stopper.
It is funny with Pickard, because we criticize his style because it's incredibly ugly. But when he's good, like, he just stops the puck, and that is kind of just the point of a goalie, is just stop the puck more than the other guy. Unfortunately, it's not happening too often, but
yeah.
Well, the problem with that is that when you're riding a fine line when you're just going off of puck stopping, right? And if you don't feel great or something's not perfect, you're probably not going to get away with a lot. Whereas if you're structured and you have solid foundation, then you don't have to be at the very peak of your game to go get away with a game or have a good game. Picks is kind of always just walking a little bit of a fine line, where if he is off, it's not going to go well.
I think that's actually a really that made something kind of click in my brain hearing it like that. But you're right. Like, he's basically in like survival mode every game. And like, if one thing goes wrong, there's very little margin for error. I want to move away from the goaltending when it comes to this Oilers team. And listen, it's kind of funny. You've been on the show now for a couple of years, so it's the same questions. And you can now kind of get the routine of this Oilers group. But like, we are in January. Mangiapane stinks. Frederick hasn't been good. No one outside of Connor and Leon are scoring. Like, it's insane we're back to this point.
Yeah, it's frustrating. They've shown flashes, and at the end of the day, we saw last year, this is a big reason that they had success in playoffs, was the guys came through when they needed them to come through, the depth scoring. And it's tricky, because it's like, do you get more if you give those guys more ice time? Maybe, but if you give those guys more ice time, do you get goals at all? Because it's like, how do you not put Connor and Leon in every single situation all the time? And then that can have an effect on the depth scoring because they're not getting the opportunities or the ice time or the flow. But how do you not? Because you have that. It's just this weird, tricky situation.
Yeah. We got a chance, and I know you've been busy, you've been coaching a lot of hockey, so they called up Hudson, Howard, Savoy, put them together. They dubbed them the Kid Line. First time we've had a Kid Line since Nilsson, Cogliano, and Sam Gagner. What do you remember about that trio?
Oh, Bobby Nilsson. I got a quick American League story about Robert Nilsson. So he came down, and Bobby didn't, he was super laid back, didn't care much, skated like the wind, like very effortless. He took a 4-minute shift. Kelly Buckberger was our head coach, and he took he was already mad that Bobby was already mad that he got sent down. So he was not happy to be in Springfield. It was a short little stint. He knew he was going back up. And I think we were it doesn't matter. We were on the road somewhere, and Bucky's screaming at him on the bench to get off the ice. And he cruises by the bench and gives her one of these and just keeps going and just would not come off the ice. And there was somehow no whistles. And so he just cruised up and down the ice for 4 minutes. And I think if he had to stay another day, Bucky might have murdered him, but he was back up to the big club.
That's so funny that they just call him right back up. Like Bucky probably made the call and was like, "I'm not doing this shit anymore." And they're like, "Oh damn, well,
he's coming up if you like it or not." Yeah, have him again.
Can't have him healthy scratch down in Springfield. Anyways, Liam.
I wanted to ask you a lot of Hockey Canada stuff coming up quickly here. But I'll quickly ask you about the World Juniors, and then we'll talk about the Olympics. Obviously, Canada got eliminated yesterday in Minnesota. I don't know if you went to any games, but you played on the World Juniors team 2006. You didn't get into any games, and you ended up winning the gold medal, like is the expectation for every Canadian team. But how much pressure are these kids under, and how much do you feel it when you're in the moments of a World Juniors? Maybe they felt it a little bit more because they haven't won in so long, but what are those moments like for Canadian players?
Well, I mean, I know growing up that it's insanely high pressure and extra when you're in Canada. I know our guys felt the pressure, but in our year, we won the semis 4-0 and the finals 5-0. It was never even close. There was not really any pressure to feel. The guys just went out and got the job done. But even, being close to home, we're in Minnesota in the States here. So there's still a lot of eyes, a lot of friends and family there. The pressure is huge. And it's just that's what makes the tournament so exciting. That's why you see the crazy plays, the mistakes, the turnovers, all this stuff because of that crazy high pressure. One mistake can turn your whole year around, turn your whole tournament. You're out. I don't know if you guys watched the Finland-Sweden semifinal. It was absolutely bananas.
Yeah.
But this poor kid loses a puck in a shootout. That's like. Your tournament's over. And it wasn't that exact play, but there's just like that pressure. That's what makes it such a fun tournament, but it makes for, potential mistakes or potential heroes.
Yeah, and I mean, you obviously paid attention to this year's tournament. I think a part of it, too, is like in the past, you'd get these kind of crazy upsets, but they would come and it would be like, okay, Canada had 60 shots on net and the other team beat them 3-1 because their goalie stopped 59 of them. And what we saw this year was like, whoa, don't take what happened yesterday to Canada against Czechia. That wasn't some crazy Canada deserved it. Czechia was the better team, and they played with this energy, and they played this freewheeling kind of hockey, and they're talented players. I feel like the skill gap has closed, and then these other teams just playing so free, and these kids not having the pressure, which can choke you, not having that pressure. That's why we're now getting games where the upsets aren't really even upsets anymore. Like Czechia was the better team last night.
I agree, and it was a great hockey game. Canada wasn't bad. It was just Czechia was right there with them, and that's the thing is you're gonna get like these teams. You can see those Czech players when they're scoring, like they're chirping. Nothing gets these guys going more than beating Canada and watching these guys reel and get emotionally, disconnected and fired up, and like it gets those teams going. The Czech, the Slovakian teams. Really, everybody, they feed off of that for Canada, and they have to be able to deal with it. But that game was even. I think Czech was the better team. It certainly wasn't an upset. Disappointing the way it played out. It's still, not just that game. It's mind blowing to me what you can give up. Like you just scored to tie the game, and you want to talk about the pressure and decision making and all that. Like the guy, I realize it goes off skate or whatever. The guy walks right through the hash marks. There's a minute and a half left in the game. You just tied it. And it just, that decision making, I can't think of who the D-man was, but he comes flying across, puts his stick down, drops his knee like he's going to be a goalie, and lets the guy walk right to the middle. It's not the play. And, that might be pressure got the best of him and he got uptight and did that. But it's like, how do you let this guy get to that spot when you just tied the game and there's a minute and a half left? But it's not just that game. It was like the U.S. game was the same way. And like all these other games, the offense and the scoring chances are crazy. It's junior hockey. And the stuff that goes on, you're like, what is going on? And then the skill level they put in the back of the net.
It's the beauty of it. Like the Jordan Eberle goal is such an iconic moment, but it was like 9 seconds left or whatever. I was like, these
and he's standing by himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Russia has no one in front of the net.
It just happens every single year. But I think the funny part about your World Juniors team is, again, you didn't play a game. It was Justin Pogge that played all 6 games. But also, I know they're probably a bit younger, but like Letang and Taves are both on that team, finished 12th and 13th in scoring. And it was Blake Como, Dustin Boyd, Steve Downey, and Cam Barker that led the way offensively.
Steve Downey was a player, though. Like he was just a little pit bull out there.
Yeah, we were slated to finish 4th in that tournament. We didn't have high expectations, but I mean, our D. You mentioned Letang. We had Mark Stahl. We had Ryan Parent. We had late Luke Bourdon. We were a wagon on the back end. Like you couldn't score on us. And then we had our guys. They don't sound like they weren't big superstar NHL players, but at the junior level, they were superstar players, and they played hard and could put the puck in the net. So I mean, we rolled through that tournament.
I was going to say Chris Russell also on the team, who again was no offensive juggernaut in the NHL, absolute demon for the Medicine Hat Tigers.
He was so good with Medicine Hat. I want to talk about the Olympics now, and I think it actually is like an interesting pivot from like the pressure of being in these big moments, and then looking at who Canada's bringing for goaltending to Milan. They're bringing Binnington, even though he has just had I think we can be blunt, he's had a putrid regular season. He's been terrible. He hasn't even been the best Canadian goalie on his NHL team, but they bring him. Is that a comment, again, on like, we want at least one guy, even though Logan Thompson might be the starter, we want one guy who's been there, worn the Maple Leaf before, and kind of done all of this?
100%. And he did his best to be left off. But obviously there's nothing that could be done, but that's the point, right? Is that these tournaments are short. They're high pressure moments. They're specific moments. You've got a guy who has shown on multiple occasions that he is ready to do that if they need it, if they're not comfortable with somebody else, and they've got 3 goalies on the roster. That's why you bring him. Because you know what? He wasn't having a great year last year either. It wasn't like he was top of the league, and he went out and he performed incredibly well in a big moment. So that's you need that. This guy has proven on multiple occasions that he can perform in big moments and specific high pressure single game situations like that, and it's important to have.
Yeah. I guess the last one for me is, when you look at that Canadian roster, is there any one of the omissions that really stands out to you? Like Liam and I have wasted a ton of oxygen on you'll bring Devon Toews for Cale Makar, but you won't bring Zach Hyman for Connor McDavid, right? They brought Kunitz back in the day for Sid. Like, it's annoying that McDavid doesn't kind of get that same level of treatment. We're like, all right, we'll bring your running mate with you. But is there anyone that was left off that Canadian roster that you really raised an eyebrow at?
Yeah, Zach Hyman. I think, and that's, I don't want to talk about anybody who shouldn't be here because that seems wrong, because these are all unbelievable hockey players. But Zach Hyman, to me, you can't, Connor Bedard, I think if he hadn't been hurt and continued to play the way he was, he'd be very tough to leave off, especially with the expanded roster. I think it kind of gave him a little bit of an easier out to leave him off. Macklin Celebrini, obviously they didn't have a choice, but Connor Bedard wasn't playing far off of that level of play either. But again, Zach Hyman, there's no argument for, we can't put him here, we can't play him here. All he does is score, hit, check, block shots, like everything you'd ever ask of. There's other guys on this team that do the same thing that, I don't know. And then if you want to throw in, like you said, with Kunitz, with Connor McDavid, why not? Again, it's like you look at Mark Stone. I thought Stoner looked a little slow in the Four Nations. And again, this is stupid for me to be talking about Mark Stone. He's an unbelievable hockey player and a great leader. But it's like Zach Hyman there, a little more speed beside Connor, or maybe not even that spot. But again, it's like I don't want to talk about who should come off, but I think Zach Hyman should be there for everything that he brings.
Yeah, which is kind of the funny thing is like you're debating like the difference between Zach Hyman and Mark Stone is like this much. Like we're splitting hairs here, but that's the beauty of this whole thing and finally getting best on best hockey back. Doobie, appreciate your time. Thank you for doing this. It was great catching up, and we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good, guys. See you soon.
There you go. You bring him on to break down Calvin Pickard's goal. You get a great story about Robert Nilsson and Kelly Buckberger.
And you talk about the 2006 World Juniors.
You talk about 2006 World Juniors. Hell of a World Junior run there. That's when I would have like been falling in love with the tournament, right?
Well, like those teams too. Like Malcolm was on Russia. Mm-hmm. Phil Kessel was on the U.S. Like there was a lot of good players, and like as much as I said, like those three players that led the way for Canada, like it's just so different now. And I don't think it's a question mark on like Canadian development of players. I just think junior hockey is a little bit different in Canada, for better or worse, whichever way you want to put that on it. But like the Czechs come over here and they play really well. The guy who scored last night is going to the Kelowna Rockets.
Yeah,
there's an Oil King on that team. The goalie is
who also scored last night. By the way,
the goalie's wearing a Prince Albert Raiders mask. Like there's a lot of players want to come and play in Canada, and I think that's why the European teams have got a little bit better too. Not to discredit what they're doing in Europe. I think they do a good job there too. But those players are coming, and that's why the World Juniors, if you try to be a neutral fan, is just much more exciting.
My all-time favorite World Junior player, Chris DiDomenico.
He
was on the team in Ottawa. I think he played back-to-back years, actually. Oh, no, he just played the 1 year in the World Juniors. But I remember him being a part of that game. I think it's like one of my first really early World Junior memories. He was a part of that game on New Year's Eve against Team USA when they were down. I think it was 3-0. And John Tavares scored a hat trick to come back. But Canada scored. And when they were going by the bench, DiDomenico went to kind of like rub it in. And he got high-sticked by a player on the bench. Sent Canada back to the power play. Like, I just will never forget that game. That tournament was, again, 2009, one of the first tournaments that like I would have really, really watched closely and like been in love with as a hockey fan. And I just remember that DiDomenico moment is like, oh my God.
My favorite World Juniors player, for the reasons being that it was just when I moved to Canada, I was getting into the World Juniors, and he was absolutely unbelievable the year. Mark Stone.
So that was the year
2012.
Yeah, it was here.
Yeah,
Edmonton, Calgary.
Was it in Edmonton?
Yeah, it was in Edmonton, Calgary. Because I remember I went to the New Year's Eve game with my dad. They beat Team USA, and then I remember that would have been the year where in the semis against Russia, semis or the gold, whatever one it was.
Yeah, it was semifinals against Russia. They were coming back, but then didn't make the comeback.
Yeah, Mark Stone hit the post. They were down like 5-2 or whatever, and Mark Stone rang it off the iron with like 3 minutes left or something crazy.
Shen was on that team too. But the thing that always got me about Mark Stone at the time is that he was a 6th round pick.
Yeah.
I was just like, how did this guy not go in the first round? Was what I kept asking myself. But I just didn't fully understand a lot about the World Juniors. They did win bronze that year.
Mm-hmm.
You just said mine. Mine was Braden Shen.
He was
the neck guard, the everything. Oh, and then honorable mention Steve Downey. Not just because Doobie mentioned him. He was a dog.
Yeah. He was.
My other favorite, Jeff Whitaker.
He had a good career. Shout out Jeff Whitaker.
He did. I believe Jeff had the overtime or the semifinal overtime winner or something against the U.S. in 2004. I never watched it, but I remember him telling me he was on that team. He was on the Jordan Tutu team.
That would have been in Halifax.
Yeah, he was the roommate with Jordan Tutu.
And he said Jordan Tutu was, and he's told this story on the air, so I'm allowed to tell it, I think. But
I couldn't remember what this was, but I think you got it.
So it was something like Jordan Tutu came down and he opens up his suitcase when they get into their hotel room, and he just has like all of this like different kinds of jerky.
Yes, that was
and he was selling jerky like from his hometown out of their World Junior hotel room.
That's the story.
And he was like running a side hustle while they're playing in the tournament. And Waywick is like, what are you doing? You're going to get us in trouble.
Yeah, that was 2003. The leader on that team in points, a defenseman. 10.6 games, Carlo Koliakovo.
Shout out Carlo. Had him on DF Live a couple weeks ago. He's great. Nice. Big Bills fan.
Again, like you look through these teams and it is just the most random players.
Random shit.
P.A. Paggio. Brooks Laika. How do you say his name again? Laika?
Brooks Light.
Light.
Oh, yeah.
Ian White. Scotty Upshaw. Like some of these names, if you're not a huge hockey fan, you probably don't even know, and that's not to disrespect them. It's just World Juniors just feels a lot different now.
Yeah, Lance says, was 2012 the year the refs were screwing Czechia versus America, and Edmonton crowd started cheering for Czechia. They upset USA. The goalie was dancing. The goalie that year was Peter Mrazek.
Was it? I
think it was Peter. It was Peter Mrazek, and then the next Czech goalie that everyone fell in love with was Dennis Godla. But that would have been a different tournament. Yeah, 2020 would have been, 2012 in Edmonton was Peter Mrazek dancing around all over the place.
I can tell you my least favorite World Juniors player also, and just because I felt bad for him, but then I just started disliking him. Mark Byzantine.
Yeah.
Because
he gave up what, 6 in a gold medal game or something like that?
Yeah, it was the third period where everything went in. That's a scar.
Oh, you feel so bad for him, man.
Tough. It never made it.
No, he had a cup of coffee with the Yotes.
But I don't think he played more than a season's worth of games.
No.
That's one of those games where I sat there and even me as a youngster was going, they're just kids. They're just kids.
He played one NHL game in his career.
Let us know your favorite World Juniors players. I think this is a fun topic.
Mark Stone, by the way, you want to know why he went in the 6th round? In his draft year, he had 28 points in 39 games, was hurt for a big chunk of the season. Senators pick him in the 6th round. The next year for Brandon, 106 points.
Pretty good. I think Brandon won the league that year, if I'm not mistaken.
No, the year, I think they only played 6 playoff games, unless Stone got hurt.
But maybe not. Well, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he is always hurt, but he's had a hell of a career. Okay, there's a couple more things that I want to get to. I do love these comments, though.
PK Subban. Come on.
Yeah. Jason Allison from Brian. It's a great way for someone to show their age, too. And, when they started following hockey. Even you being like Mark Stone. I'm like, oh, buddy, I was 6 World Juniors deep by the time I laid my eyes on Mark Stone. Yeah, Mark Stone injured. PK Subban was so sick.
Yeah, a lot of that's what you like. The World Juniors is the best when the personalities show up for Canada.
Dion Phaneuf, the double Dion.
Shout
out Pierre.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, World Juniors is fun. I think it is. I think Canada's games are still fun. And we've talked about this so many times. Being in these big cities sucks. The best part about it is the fans and the players and being involved in it, and it just gets so anticlimactic when you look at the rink and it's just there's nobody there for Canada versus Czechia. So this is a semi-final game. Tonight's final might be the lowest attended final ever.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the numbers would be. I would just look and be like, there's no one
Steven was
there.
saying he was talking to people, he thinks there's going to be more people for the bronze game than the gold because people want to see Canada.
Yeah,
you could sit lower bowl for Finland, Sweden for $25.
Should we go?
How was the game yesterday?
Oh, shit.
I'm sure the gold medal tickets tonight are dirt cheap. If we had a ticket partner, this is when we could do a segment.
It's only 17 hours to Minnesota if we drive. We'll miss both games. But we can
miss both games. Ryan says, I'm planning to go to Finland for the World Juniors. I think if you're going overseas, I think you should go watch the Spengler. I've heard the Spengler is a way better in-person experience.
Yeah, I never watched the Spengler Cup. But one thing that was very funny this year about the Spengler Cup? So they had that U.S. college team, but there was 5 Canadian players on the team. And the captain was T.J. Hughes, who is a Canadian and played for the Brooks Bandits. And they asked him, he was on Morning Cup Hockey, actually. And it was so it's just kind of weird. You're representing the U.S., but you're a Canadian. He's like, yeah, there's 4 or 5 of us that are in the same boat, and it's very odd. But it's the college team, so.
Someone said, why does Minnesota have banners of every team in the NHL? Homies need to win something. It's actually there's a lot of teams that do that. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, Vegas do it.
Vegas does it. Mini does it. I don't think Florida does. But it was basically when teams would host a draft, that's something they put up at the draft, and some teams just never take them down.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's way more common than you think. I bet you there's 6-7 rinks around the league who have it.
I did notice it a few times when we've seen them on the road. Vancouver doesn't. Oilers obviously don't. I haven't seen it in any Canadian market.
No.
So yeah, interesting. And then usually they'll put if it's Vegas, for example, they'll put a spotlight on the team that Vegas is playing that night.
Oh yeah, they do that.
Yeah, so that's something they do when fans don't know who the other teams are.
All right, let's get to a couple of other things just from today with the Oilers. We still have half an hour, so lots of time to actually get into all this stuff now. Jake Walman skating today.
Thank God.
We can start with the positive storylines from practice. Jake Walman, full participant. Tony Brar had that one, or that he was out skating and participating.
Oh, damn.
He was still skating with Riley Stillman.
Maybe Stillman's in.
So it doesn't seem like Walman's ready to go yet, but I think the expectation is that, like, I'll just take an educated guess here. This is not reporting. He's within a week. He's got to be within a week away if he's skating fully. As long as they don't find like another broken bone. It'd be weird if it happened twice.
Which wouldn't be out of the question, I guess, at this point. Our friend Jason Gregor said, spoke to Walman today about his bone, and his bone is finally healed, and he just needs doctor's clearance to play. Knobloch mentioned the goal is to hopefully have Walman play on the road trip in Chicago or Nashville, which is Monday, Tuesday next week.
All right.
So there you go. There's your little Jake Walman update. My God, do they need him? I've seen a long debate today on Regula and Nurse. Like, someone had decided, like, we always played Nurse's partner. The other people were like, well, Regula makes no money and he's played 50 games in the NHL. Probably both right, to be fair. Whatever happens and your opinion on that, Jake Walman's going to probably slide up and play next to Nurse and just balance things out a little bit. With that said, Jake Walman could not show up to this team and play like he was before he got injured.
Yeah, he was not. Well, he was in a group of guys who were playing poorly.
Yeah, that's fair. The whole team was rather bad. But he came back, obviously had the big goal against Ottawa. They need him to have an impact, and they need him to stay in the lineup.
Yeah, he's the best availability right now for Jake Walman, or best ability, I should say, is availability for him. I will say, and this is a debate probably for another day, I actually kind of want to see them give some runway to Nurse Bouchard at some point here.
I agree.
I think Walman, Ekholm can be a fine pairing. Nurse and Bouchard, like, there's just too much of a track record of them putting up really, really good numbers. And I think you can use those two pairings in unique ways to kind of play off each other. I also think, again, Darnell Nurse would benefit from playing with the Oilers' best defenseman. And I think you might be able to get the best out of Nurse if he's with Bouch while not totally cratering a pairing and having a second pairing that I would describe as hyper-reliable in Ekholm and Walman.
I think so, too. And I think Ekholm is playing at such a good level pre-Christmas. I guess everyone's kind of playing bad right now. Mm-hmm. But that he can be fine on his own. Not that he ever was going to be bad on his own. I think the same with Bouchard, too. Mm-hmm. Where I think Ekholm Walman, that would shut some shit down.
Yeah.
There's not much getting by. And I think Nurse and Bouchard would also just be that effective in the offensive zone. And I think I'd be curious to go and look at this, and this is just my own speculation. Nurse playing a more offensive role is probably better for him. I think it makes his offensive game a little bit better, because right now his offensive game is, which corner do I want to dump the puck into and do essentially nothing with it? I think when you're playing with McDavid, let's say McDavid, Nugent, Hyman is the line they play with more regularly, with a Bouchard, there's more options, and maybe it gets him going a little bit more rather than just like, hey, I'm with Janmark. Let's go put this over there and see what he can do for it.
I'd love for Peyton to follow up with this comment. Peyton's in and says, I don't think either Nurse or Ekholm like playing with Bouchard. Explain that. I want to know. I want to know where you're coming from on that front, because I think that's potentially a stupid comment, but I'm willing to give you a chance to redeem yourself. We got an earlier comment in here that said, can we discuss Henrique going to the wing? It was from Alvi. Discuss scratching Freddie and Manji and moving Rico to the wing. Yes.
Address Frederick.
We will.
Finally, we will.
If you're looking at this, Frederick, Mangiapane, both slated to be healthy scratches. That would be $7.45 million sitting in the press box for the Edmonton Oilers. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot. You didn't even include Walman in that.
Well,
he's injured, I know.
He's on LTIR, though.
Jaria's up there, too. There's almost more money in the press box than the Oilers' bottom six. Actually, not almost. There is with one player.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, brother.
Oh, no.
If you don't like Andrew Mangiapane, I think there's a very real chance you've seen him play his final game in an Oilers jersey.
Thank God.
Yeah.
It's just not worked.
Rumors are flying around all over the place. Friedman had the one talking about the Ducks. I'll be honest, I don't think... there's multiple reasons why a Mangiapane for Ryan Strome trade with the Ducks, which is the rumor. There's multiple reasons why it won't work, or it can't work right now. Edmonton almost needs to move out Mangiapane's money just to get Walman activated.
Yes.
So bringing in a $5 million, bringing in another $3.6 million player doesn't make a ton of sense. Ryan Strome has term left on his deal. So I don't know how you're going to fit that guy in. I don't know. And Ryan Strome is not having a good year. He was banged up. He has just 2 goals in 21 games. His on-ice numbers are good, so it leads you to believe there's a bit of bad luck in there. But still, you are not signing up for this year and next year of Ryan Strome at $5 million. And like, we'll just use that as like the banner part of this conversation. Like, bad idea to take on that contract. If Anaheim were to retain it down so that Mangiapane and Strome are like the same cap hits for either side, so like keep 1.4 million or 1.6 million, I maybe consider it a little bit more, but I think would much prefer other options than Ryan Strome that are out there and on the market. Also, are you going to have to pay for that retention? I'm not overly interested in doing that. I would rather just dump off Mangiapane and take the cap savings and address things closer to the deadline. So I'm not interested in taking on a balloon albatross contract for Mangiapane. I'm not super interested in a problem for problem swap. If that's the only way you get out of him, then deal with that in a few weeks. Right now, I think I would look more to guys that could maybe actually help you and need a change of scenery, and guys that would represent some amount of cap relief.
Mm-hmm. I think one other thing, too, that was reported, I believe it was Elliot Freeman that said it, is the Oilers want to find someone that knows they will be a bottom 6 player and is okay with that. Which they should probably tell these guys when they're signing them that that's what they're going to do, rather than so, you might play some games with Leon.
To be fair, Mangiapane played a ton with Connor and Leon and just stunk. So
yeah, I agree. So I don't love the idea of Strome, just basically what you laid out there too. I just think
would you do Rico and Mangiapane for Strome?
Yes.
I would
absolute heartbeat.
That's where it changes a little bit for me. I'll take the extra money that would be on the books next season in order to get both Rico and Mangiapane off the team right now.
Yeah, and honestly, I wouldn't even think about it twice. As soon as Adam Henrique's name was brought up, like, yes, I don't even care anything. I just think he's been so poor this season too, and it's just a lot of problems with this bottom 6 right now. And I think it was Alvy put in the chat of like, this is on pro scouting. I think currently, it's a very interesting debate. I think it is to an extent too.
It is worth noting they pushed hard for Roslovic.
Yeah, and
Roslovic said no.
Yeah.
They then circled to option B, Mangiapane, convinced him to come here.
You could even say option C.
Yeah, Besser might have been option 1.
I think it was Besser, Roslovic, Mangiapane.
And I think what maybe we've learned here is don't force it. Yeah. Maybe your third option was your third option for a reason. Just wait.
I think at the time, too, when you think back of how poor the free agency class was, at the time we thought this Mangiapane deal was good. I think a lot of us would agree. He scored 14 goals. We all looked at it being like it was all with Lars Eller. I think if you look as well at his time on ice, it's pretty much the same as what it was in Washington on average. Obviously, that balances out throughout the season. And my problem with Mangiapane is like he just doesn't show up most nights. And I think Alvy's right in the sense of like pro scouting, this is an issue currently to an extent. But I also think it just comes down to the players. I think if you know you're not going, and like maybe it's a little bit on the coaching too, to be fair, then you got to figure it out, man. Yeah. Like I think Trent Frederick has not been good enough, evidently by him being a scratch again. But at least at certain moments, he's gone out there and tried to fight and tried to do something. It's not happening nearly enough. Do not get me wrong. Adam Henrique, Jeff Jackson, thanks a lot for that one. Matthias Janmark, similar too. Yeah. I just don't think the others can keep getting themselves in this hole of just signing these guys to longer term deals. I think a 2-year deal for Mangiapane is fine in the sense of like the type of player he's supposed to be, but you need to identify them a little bit more. And I just don't think he's the type of player they actually wanted. But I don't know what they want on a third line currently because we just don't see them play because, again, they're just not good enough to play.
Yeah. I do think it's a little telling. Can you flash up the lines again, Aaron, when you have a sec? I think it's a little telling. Hudson is out. Also, Henrique not necessarily moved to the wing. He probably takes the draws and maybe Roslovic plays center, but I think that might be a little bit more whatever. Okay. The fact that Hudson's the guy out, Savoy's back on the wing, and Howard staying in the lineup, I think that's a little bit telling too, in the sense of like they clearly prefer Savoy Howard over Hudson, but I think they recognize that they just got to play them with skilled centermen right? Like, again, finding someone who could potentially pair with Howard and Savoy, that is what could give you a bottom six that scores. Also, Roslovic off the Draisaitl line because Kapanen is back. Fully skated, fully practiced with Leon Draisaitl. Again, is that something that maybe spreads out the offense a little bit? Knobloch, that is, talked about how he had to put Roslovic back with Leon because he needed to give Leon help. If you view Kapanen as enough help for Leon, do you feel better about Roslovic on the third line with potentially some more help in Ike Howard? Like, I don't know, maybe. I still don't like Henrique being there. I maybe would have gone Roslovic in between Howard and Savoy. That's maybe my one beef with this lineup, and I would have put Henrique on the fourth line right wing with Lazar and Janmark.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or I would have scratched Henrique and played Frederick over him.
So who are your penalty killers here, just quickly? Henrique, Janmark, Lazar.
Savoy,
Nude.
Nude.
So that would be why I would think Hudson's probably out of the lineup a little bit too.
Because you need to keep an extra PK in.
Yeah, like, you can't have too many guys who don't give you anything on either side of special teams. Like, Howard might slot in on PP2. Kapanen, I think, killed a little bit last season, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see. I don't hate this lineup, to be honest.
Just back to the Mangiapane rumors.
Is there more?
Well, Anaheim's the one. Anaheim's really banged up right now, apparently, and they have $23 million in cap space this year, and like way more next year. They have $41 million in cap space. So if they like Mangiapane, they would very obviously take Mangiapane's contract and the money that goes with it. Like, it's not a big deal for them, is my point. I really don't see anyone on Anaheim that I like as a potential return in all of this. Like Ryan Poehling, I don't think he's exactly a solution. Maybe I don't even think there is a D-man that you'd like. So point is, if it's going to Anaheim, I wonder if it's not just more of a pure cap dump. I don't mind Columbus, only from the sense of I heard Penn Yoda on the sheet talk about how the Oilers like Boone Jenner, and I like Boone Jenner.
We're a Boone Jenner fan club here.
$3.75 million. What do you need to add to Columbus? Like, what's Boone Jenner's value?
Second round
pick, I think.
Let me look at my previous research.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
I would be very intrigued at what you could get, what you need to add to get Boone Jenner out of Columbus, and then as a follow-up, what you need to add to get Boone Jenner at money retained. I think the issue there, though, might just be that like Columbus is last in the East, but they're 5 points out of a playoff spot in the East, and they are ahead of a couple teams by points percentage. Like, can you convince Columbus that they need to pull shoot? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it a full pull shoot move trading Boone Jenner for Andrew Mangiapane? Boone Jenner only has 6 goals this year. He's only played 20-some games, but still.
So here's a decent one comparison from a couple of years ago. Now I got to update this a bit more. Alex Wenberg was $4.5 million, 50% retained from the Columbus Blue Jackets to the New York Rangers. He was a second-round pick and a conditional fourth-round pick on retention.
So Mangiapane's maybe the conditional fourth.
Yeah, maybe you can kind of swing it that way. Other players, Jack Roslovic actually was traded. I would label him at the time still as a middle six forward.
Yeah.
He was traded for a straight up fourth round pick. Again, ironically, that was Columbus to the New York Rangers. Mangiapane had a cap hit of $4 million. Roslovic had a cap hit of $4 million.
And what do you get again, sir?
That was a fourth round pick.
Yeah, I think that was like right at the deadline too, I think.
Yeah, another one that was right at the deadline, if I'm not mistaken. Jason Zucker traded from Arizona to Nashville. $5.3 million was a sixth round pick. But I think that, if I remember correctly as well, Matt Dumba was a similar case where Arizona was like, we just do not want these guys who will take anything for them. Mm-hmm. So I think if you want retention, you're looking at least a second round pick to give up. Maybe you can bring it down to a third if you're like, we just take Mangiapane. He can play. Like, there's no doubt Mangiapane's an NHL player.
Okay, I'm going to go full nerd mock trade.
Okay.
Boone Jenner, 50% retained.
Okay.
And Columbus's 2027 third round pick. They have 3 of them.
Okay.
So Columbus throws in a third to this deal. Edmonton gives Columbus their second rounder this year, and they give them their second rounder next year as well, but you get the third next year, so you're trading down a round. And you get Boone Jenner 50% retained, and Mangiapane's out the door. 2 seconds and Mangiapane for Jenner at 50% retained in a third.
I think the Oilers are giving up too much.
Not quite what I'm asking you. Would you do it?
Oh, no.
You wouldn't do that. Right now, if you could hit a button on our table, do the trade. You wouldn't do that to get Mangiapane out and have Boone Jenner.
I think that would be bad asset management.
But you're also freeing up $3.6 million this summer because you got Mangiapane out the door.
No, I understand that.
You keep a third-round pick next year. So you'd still have your first and third in 2027. You'd have your first and third in 2026.
I just think that's too high. I think that's too much for Boone Jenner. I think Boone Jenner is good. I just think even if you take out the name Boone Jenner, you're doing 2 second-round picks plus a player who's on your third line for a third-line center.
Healthy scratch tomorrow.
Who is? No, I know. Sorry, he plays bottom 6, whatever. Like, still, just looking through this stuff here, like, Lars Eller was a second-round pick with retention. So I don't think you need to give up 2 second-round picks.
Doing it 6 weeks before the deadline is another part of it?
I don't know. That seems like a lot.
Someone says, I don't get Tyler's obsession with Boone Jenner. I wouldn't say obsession. He's one of the guys who's available. I think he would play hard and give some identity to this Oilers team, and he is used to playing we'll call it, middle 6 role for Columbus. I know he spent some time on the top line and all that, but like he is a guy who would buy into his role here.
How much money is he, sorry?
3.75.
Okay. So 8, whatever your name is, says Liam says no, laughing face. It's about asset management for me, not necessarily the player that's going back and forth. I think another good example here, actually, is when Chicago traded Max Domi to Dallas. Max Domi was a $3 million middle 6 player, no retention. Anton Hudobin went back the other way for a cap dump, and it cost him a second-round pick. Hudobin was a little bit different because he was already in the minors.
And they there's a middleman team in there that might not be listed in that trade.
Nope, that was it.
The year Domi went from
Chicago to Dallas.
Yeah, they flipped him to Florida for like 2 seconds, I think. Or not 2 second-round picks, but I mean like
Maxi Domi.
I think they quickly traded him to Florida. Florida kept half the money, and then they shipped him to Dallas.
No, that was the year before, it looks like.
Oh,
no. Yeah, sorry, you're right. Carolina.
Yeah. Carolina ended up getting him.
No, that was a different year.
Oh, okay.
That was a year before.
Got my Domi deadline trades mixed up.
Classic. 2 years.
Who among us? You know, sometimes you're sitting with your boys and you're like, fuck, I can't remember what year Max Domi was. They needed a middle team to retain money.
Former Oiler in that trade, Dylan Wells, also sent to Chicago.
Yeah.
Farewell. Mm-hmm. I think Columbus is a good target. They have a couple of centermen coming to the end of their contracts. Maybe it's an option for them. We'll see.
Toronto, yeah. I'd keep an eye on Toronto. I'd keep an eye on Anaheim. I'd keep an eye on CBJ. I don't know who else. Detroit would maybe like Andrew Mangiapane. They got a ton of cap space. But again, like Detroit would be a team that I'm calling and saying it's a cap dump. And they'd go, yes. And then you just trade Mangiapane for a 5th-round pick like you did Arvidsson, and away you go.
Yeah.
We can pay for the remainder of his current contract, sign him to a new contract next year, noting he'll get paid next year. Yeah. How are teams going to make any trades this year without double retention? Not to just keep hammering this home, but like, I think the players on the trade market who you'll see have the most value are Kiefer Sherwood. Dirt cheap. If you retain once, oh my God, he's even cheaper. Boone Jenner, a lot of contenders can fit him in with 1-rounder retention or potentially no retention. He's that cheap. Like, I think those are the guys who you're going to see hold a ton of value on the trade market versus traditionally players who were maybe making $6 million, who teams would maybe wince and be like, I don't know if I really want to pay. Well, you get them double retained, it's 2. And it's like, all right, we're in. Like the Oilers did it with Freddie. The Oilers did it with Henrique. Like they've done that in the past to squeeze in more expensive options. I don't know if you're going to necessarily see that all that much, or you're not going to see that all this much this year because there's no double retention, but I think you're going to see it hurt a lot of guys' trade values as we kind of work our way through the deadline. Like I'm trying to find a good example. Like, you know who's a good example of it? Evander Kane is probably a guy who a lot of contenders would have sat there and been like, you know what? I'll give Vancouver a 3rd and I'll give another team a 4th. And I'm going to get Evander Kane at $1.2 million and put him on my 4th line and play him in the playoffs. I think a lot of contending teams would have considered doing that. I don't think a lot of contending teams would consider Evander Kane at 50%.
Yeah.
And it's worth noting the Oilers, because of CBA rules, cannot acquire Evander Kane with any retention because he was traded away from them in the last calendar year.
Yeah. I always think back to it's a little bit different, but like Brooks Orpik. Mm-hmm. Remember Washington, because he was like a $5-6 million deal. Washington traded him to Colorado. Colorado bought him out.
That was at the draft, yeah.
And then they re-signed him.
Yeah.
That's like a league minimum. So similar.
I think another team who's really going to hurt in that sense is Chicago. I don't think you're going to find a taker for Jason Dickinson at 4.2. I think you would struggle to find a taker for Jason Dickinson at 2.1.
How good is he now?
He's 30.
A few years ago, he was a decent player, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. It's crazy that Connor Bedard doesn't have a new deal yet. Anyways, let's do a little what's trending here.
Lots
trending. What's trending for our friends at Oodle Noodle? You can take advantage of the value menu deal and add 2 green onion cakes, 5 spring rolls, or 6 wontons to your order for just $2. Any signature or premium box in store, takeout only. OodleNoodle.ca.
I got something really quickly so I can move on from this on my Twitter. This is from Sammy Silva, who is a reporter for the Washington Capitals. Yeah. Jacob Chikrin did not hear from Hockey Canada. No one has reached out, so it doesn't appear that he's one of the reserve guys going forward if needed.
Devon Toews got hurt last night.
I mean, honestly, has every Canadian player been hurt so far? Tom Wilson got hurt. Bo Horvat was hurt. There was one other guy. I can't remember who it was.
Horvat and Wilson don't seem too bad. I think there's some concern Toews could be out for a month.
It was a bad play. It was unfortunate play, I should say, but it was a bad outcome.
The Landeskog one sucked.
Yeah, wraps himself around the post, right?
And I think you don't want to say anything, but it looked like he was kind of grabbing his knee, which knee almost ended his career 10 months ago. So
it's too bad. But that would mean, my assumption would be, if an offensive defenseman was to get hurt on Team Canada,
or just a right shot defenseman,
or maybe a right shot defenseman in general, then Evan Bouchard is likely the guy, likely the next top right shot defenseman, right?
Him or Schaefer.
Yeah, Mackenzie Weegar. What side does he play?
Weegar.
I know I think with Weegar, if Parayko or Sanheim got hurt, he would be the call. We'll see. I don't know. I just thought that was very interesting.
Canada eliminated from the World Juniors. Kind of talked about it with Doobie, but that Czechia team's good. Canada, couple of undisciplined penalties. Again, that's kind of stuff too, where those don't get called in the dub. Those don't get called in major junior. Those probably don't get called in college. But you need to remember what you're playing in the World Juniors. It's international hockey. And maybe that's where some of these countries are getting an advantage on Canada.
Yeah, maybe it is. Because I think when we're starting to see it now at the World Championships a little bit too, and it'll be interesting to see it at the Olympics, a guy like Tom Wilson, for example, who just obviously plays on the edge, some of his big hits will probably just get called in these tournaments. But just this Canadian team, look, I think you got to look at it from this side of things. Canada has stunk at the World Juniors for what? At least the last 2 years, not including this
3.
one.
Quarterfinal, semifinal.
Were you including this year?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't including this year.
Okay, go ahead.
And they said they wanted to take a step forward and win. It's okay, well, you at least have the opportunity to win a medal this time around, which is a step in the right direction, I suppose. But I just don't think the dominance of Canada is what it once was, because we talked about it. A lot of other teams are just better now. I don't know how to build a Canadian team anymore. I feel like there's almost it just sounds weird, but there's almost too much talent to pick from in a way that you're always going to make a mistake, but it's hard to build a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just think we have to get to a point of accepting that you're not going to win every year, right?
Totally.
The tournament's gotten good.
Yeah. The tournament has gotten good, but you look through and it's everyone's a first round pick.
Yeah.
And it's just now you're asking, and Sam O'Reilly, ironically, playing on the full line, the third line, whatever it was named a star of the tournament for Canada. But
what did Ike Howard do?
What did Ike Howard do?
Nothing at the tournament. Makes you think.
Should you
say that? No, I'm just saying. I'm just being an asshole.
Makes you think.
Well,
he won gold.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, then continue.
So I just think that, and I don't know what the answer is. I just think it's intriguing that, we jokingly lift stuff those players from Doobie's team as, none of them were first-round picks, those guys, besides Cam Barker, third overall, of course. But, maybe hockey's just a little bit different now than years past.
Yeah. You wrote in here that the U.S. is getting the tournament in 2031.
Apparently, that's what they're going to bid for, and it's going to be in either Seattle or Vegas, is the rumor.
Didn't you do both? But one in the other, and then...
My question would be, I think Seattle could maybe work, because they have the Thunderbirds have had quite a lot of success.
Oh, yeah.
But I would think about doing it more in Spokane and Tri-City, I don't know.
North Dakota.
What is Tri-City? I think it's Kenworth or something like that. I just think, again, the World Juniors needs to be in these smaller places, these smaller towns, smaller cities, and go for it from there. And I think it would bring more excitement to it. But I don't know. I think we would all agree it was a very lackluster response from the fans at the World Juniors.
Brutal in Minnesota this year, which sucks. Because, again, you want those big moments with the crowd pops and all that. Last night, that lower bowl was like 30% full.
Yeah, it's disappointing. I always think back to that Halifax. Like, you think about that Halifax game, and Dylan Gunther gets the overtime winner, and he doesn't even take his gloves off because he just, like, can't believe the moment. There's no way that would happen. He would have had to build his own excitement to rip off his gloves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just like looking at us like, holy shit, like look at this building. The camera's shaking. And last night, they only would have shook if someone was picking it up.
Yeah.
It's just silly.
Moving away. I don't know if you saw this from Pat Steinberg. So Zane Perek had those comments where he was like, oh man, I wish I could just stay here. I'm having so much fun playing hockey. Then he talked about how like personality in the NHL and all this. Apparently, Pat Steinberg mentioned on his show in Calgary that some Flames players weren't happy about those comments. Thought he was the next Cale Makar.
It's just a kid. Like he's having fun with guys his own age. Calgary have a fairly older team in comparison.
I also think if those players are frustrated by that, that completely proves his fucking point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Then it's like, okay, thank you. That now makes sense.
Yeah. Canadian boys are playing cocky at the end of the Slovakia game. They were ill-prepared for Czechia and played disorganized hockey, poor passing all game. Yeah, I mean, they definitely didn't move the puck very well. The offensive attack, there weren't enough stretches. There were some, but not enough where they were like, had Czechia hemmed in.
Yeah.
Czechia deserved that win. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, well, okay. Sometimes you lose, man. Sometimes you're just not the better team.
I just think they were let down by, well, I have one weird thing. The coaching staff, so you had three of the greatest coaches, Canadian junior hockey in the last however long. Gordon McDougall, who is the Moncton coach, just won Memorial Cup. Obviously Dale Hunter and Brad Lauer, who is the head coach of Spokane, but was the coach of the Oil Kings teams when they were winning a few years ago.
Is he head coach in Spokane now?
Yes, I believe that's where he is. And they just went to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe the finals. I can't remember the Western League. And they were playing 8 defensemen. So, okay, I know there was a debate of like where Keaton Verhoff should play, and obviously there's different rules for how many players you can have, but like that's just too many. And like I know the tournament's short, but like you should be able to figure out who goes with who well enough. I don't think Harrison Brunicki was anything special.
For a guy that played NHL games, couldn't believe how poor he was.
Atchison, I don't think he was very good either. Perk was good, there's no doubt about it. I don't think the blue line was strong enough, and it made the goaltending, which shouldn't have been a question mark at all, because all three of those goalies will play a significant amount of games in the NHL, made it look bad. And they were three of the best goalies Canada's had to offer in a long, long time. And on the forward side of things, like that top line was fine of McKenna, Hage, and Brady Mine. But the rest of them in the top 6, what was it? Aginla.
Aginla had a good tournament.
Yeah, Aginla was good. Sorry, his line was Aginla,
Martone,
and Misa. That was it.
Yeah,
those two didn't show up consistently enough. Jetlachenko. I'm sorry, that guy might be the most overrated prospect in a long, long time. I know he was like the 14th overall pick.
Almost made the Flyers out of camp 2 years ago.
Both years, it felt like. And it's just like, how? Like, I just don't see it with him. So just let him down a little bit.
I'm not buying the McKenna draft stock goes down. If you overreact from the World Juniors, or like one period in the World Juniors or one play, you're a bad scout. And like I think fans, whatever, you want to be frustrated that he didn't score more. Sure, didn't have a Connor Bedard-esque or Connor McDavid-esque tournament.
He's not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal.
Not that guy, pal. Also in news of Braden Coots just traded to the Prince Albert Raiders, if you're a Western Hockey League fan.
Oh, really?
No return on that yet, but the deadline is coming up, so you'll start to see these World Juniors guys flying around.
Outside of the NHL and the hockey world, the Blue Jays signed a big-name free agent over the weekend, Kazuma Okamoto. Liam, what do you know about him?
I know that he is probably Japanese.
Correct, sir. He is Japanese, and he hits a lot of home runs. I think, profiles more as like a contact, bat-on-ball guy at the major league level, but pretty exciting deal. $60 million over the course of 4 years, so a $15 million AAV. The Blue Jays giving a guy who has never played in the majors more money than Connor McDavid earns, which is obviously not a comment on the Okamoto contract. It's more a comment on how much baseball players make. But actually, get ready for this. Bargain deal for the Blue Jays.
Really?
Yeah, I think a guy with upside like that, getting him for only $15 million a year, I thought it was going to be closer to like an $80 million contract. And it keeps him still firmly in the market. Bob Nightingale reporting they view Okamoto as a super utility player. They think he can play like a bunch of different spots around the diamond. Keeps him firmly in the conversation for one of Tucker or Bichette.
So is this that one fella who was coming over from last time?
No.
Do you remember what was that one guy called? He was also a third baseman from Japan. But like his fielding was like the worst ever, but his batting
Different
was
guy.
okay. Different guy. Okay.
Yeah.
Where did he go?
I don't think he signed anywhere yet. Another one signed in Houston. I'm blanking on his name. It was a pitcher though. Ime.
Gotcha.
And there's one more that still has to sign.
What position? What is this fella's name again?
Okamoto.
What position is he listed as?
Third base.
Okay.
Third base. Played a lot of first base last year in Japan. DHs. They think maybe he can give you some second base.
So is that a position of need?
Somewhat. I mean, Ernie Clement played third last year.
I think with Ernie Clement, and I could be wrong on this, that could just be a one-hit wonder.
He might be Fernando Pisani.
Yes.
God love Fernando Pisani.
Hey, well, I'll remember Ernie.
Oh, yeah.
But
set like a World Series record, right? I think he might just be a good player who peaked at an unbelievable time.
It's a little bit in some sense too of like what Connor Brown did for the Oilers last year.
Yeah, a little bit.
In a sense. Sorry, you guys have one other what's trending thing.
NFL coaches.
All gone.
Black Monday, all fired. Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland, gone. Pete Carroll, 1 year into a 3-year deal in Vegas. See ya. Go retire.
Should never have gone.
Should have never have done that. Although a year in Vegas, some would argue, is a good retirement
Yeah,
move.
some would say that.
That's what everyone does.
Tax rebate.
Jonathan Gannon, Arizona, gone.
I'm a little bit surprised by that one.
A little bit because I thought they'd give him a start with a quarterback who he got to pick.
Oh, well, yeah, one that's good.
Yeah, not Kyler Murray. Raheem Morris, Atlanta, gone.
Smell you later. Should have never lost to the Jets.
Brian Callahan got fired early in the season. Brian Dable got fired earlier in the season. So there are now 6 coaching vacancies in the NFL.
Ooh, how would you rank them? Can you do it again? In terms of like, if you were, I don't know, availability.
Destination
like
spot.
Yeah, spot. So what is it? Cleveland, Oakland, Vegas, sorry. Tennessee, the Giants,
Atlanta
and Arizona. Okay. Arizona's last.
I wouldn't say that.
I just don't think they have a quarterback. Like, there's no future building.
I think
block
Cleveland is last because you're going to have to go take the job and get saddled with Shedeur Sanders.
Cleveland
for 2
years.
years.
Had a great rookie class though. Of
they
dudes.
did.
They're loaded.
Well, Arizona or Cleveland is easily 4 and 6, 5 and 6.
Atlanta might be one of them.
No,
Atlanta's
offense is actually pretty good. Okay, so either way, so
I think one might be Vegas just because you'll get to go in, pick a quarterback first overall
pick,
and then you get some grace of like, I have the first overall pick, and you'll probably get like 2.5 years before they fire you. You got more leash there.
Okay.
The Giants.
I think the Giants is number one.
Giants might be number one. I think Justin Dart is really good. They also have Malik Neighbors.
I like Tennessee.
I think Tennessee's a good spot too. I think my top 3 would be the Giants, Vegas, Tennessee, Atlanta. Atlanta's fine. I think the top 4 are all good spots.
I think the Giants would be like, they have the quarterback, they have the running back, they have the wide receiver. They
have the quarterback.
Kayvon Thibodeau on the DN. They got Abdul Carter. Like, they have Brian Burns. They have dudes.
They have guys.
There's a lot of guys. I think I would go Vegas 1, Tennessee 2, New York 3, Atlanta 4, Arizona 5, Cleveland 6. Just because Cleveland, I think you're coming in to sign up for a job that, like, I just don't see a ton of upside there. You might be average for a little bit, but
Atlanta's an interesting one because they also have a really good defensive front.
Yeah,
their front 4 is legit. I like them a lot. Asked in the chat, did Jets axe their guy Aaron Glenn? No, they did not. But they're the first team to not get an interception in a season since was it the 60s or the 30s?
I think it's the 30s. I think it was 1933.
Okay, that's what I thought. It was 60 or 33. Good for them. Honestly, good for them. My last piece of what's trending, just because it's local. Again, the Western Hockey League trade deadline is coming up. I think it's next week. The Oil Kings supposedly have one more big move left in them this season. So we'll see. Kurt Hill is not afraid to pull the trigger when he feels like his team can win.
Oh, yeah. Kurt Hill will do it. All right, Bet365, shout out to them once again. Don't like tonight's NHL slate. No football on tonight. Let's just do like a super early then since we talked NFL football. Oilers obviously back in action tomorrow against the Nashville Predators. They are minus 170 favorites against the Preds, but we'll discuss that tomorrow on the show. Rams, 10-point favorites on the road against the Panthers.
NFL. Yeah,
NFL. Okay. Bears, 1-point favorites over the Packers. It's basically a pick 'em. Bills, 1.5-point road favorites over the Jags. Eagles, 4.5 at home over the Niners. Love that Niners spot. Niners plus 4.5 all day. Patriots, 3.5-point favorites over the Chargers. Texans, 3-point favorites over the Steelers. The Niners is my favorite spot.
I think the Texans defense
I think the Texans
has shriveled up a little bit the last few weeks, but I wonder how much. I don't want to put too much into that because they've kind of not been playing for too much. I don't hate Pittsburgh +3. I
just think it could be. Yeah, I think it could be a close game.
I think Green Bay. I would take Green Bay. At the end of the day, Jordan Love has played playoff games.
Yeah.
Isn't it that what's the thing? Toyota-Rama?
Toyotathon's over, I think.
Yeah, is it it's over now. And he didn't play much, did he? So that's too bad. Carolina, the Rams +10 is pretty funny. Yeah, I don't know. I think all these matchups are really good. I'm actually genuinely excited to watch football again.
Should be a great weekend.
I've not watched in like 3 weeks.
It was nice watching without fantasy implications. It was nice to just chill.
Yeah.
But Ty, outside of gambling,
yeah,
confidence level, Jags, Bills?
I mean, it's the Jags. They have a hell of a run defense, which makes me nervous. I'm curious if the Bills have maybe been intentionally leaving some things out of their playbook. Ooh. I think good teams kind of do that. And when people have like really questioned their play calling the last few weeks, I think it's been a little bit of like, I don't think they want to put a ton on tape. I think they rested a bunch of guys. So I feel fine. The only thing that makes me nervous, or the big thing that makes me nervous about the Jags, is their kicker drains 67-yard field goals like they're fucking nothing. And it's like
crazy.
Well, think of it like this. The new touchback line in the NFL, I know you can let them put in play, but like the new touchback line is the 35-yard line. That means the Jags only ever need to get 15 yards before they're in field goal range. That's actually like...
It's a hell of a weapon.
It's such a weapon in the playoffs. When so many games come down to how you kick... I'm very nervous that the Bills are going to lose because it'll be like the Jags are down 6. They kick a crazy-ass long field goal, get the ball back, kick another crazy-ass long field goal or something like that. You know what I mean?
Did you watch the Winter Classic?
I did. I had the over, and it was great.
The Winter Classic was great, or just the over?
Just the over hit. I don't really give a shit about
a lot of empty seats.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of empty seats. Disappointing that the NHL would take it to Florida. I think it actually really takes away the integrity of what a Winter Classic is supposed to be.
Yep.
You just played the Winter Classic in a bigger indoor facility.
Pretty much. They opened up the roof for it at least, but yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, that part of it, dumb. Like, put these things in legit cold weather places where there's snow falling and it's a spectacle. Just putting it in we've been to that ballpark. It's a fucking warehouse. It's garbage.
Sorry.
Let's wrap up because I really want to pass.
Okay. I'm going to have a meeting.
Yeah. That's a wrap on today's edition of the show. Everybody in the YouTube chat, great stuff as always. We'll continue tomorrow. It's a game day edition of the show.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Please subscribe. That'd be great too. Enjoy your Monday, and we'll see you back here Tuesday, noon Mountain. Oil up. What's up, Nation citizens? If you enjoyed today's episode of Oilers Nation Every Day, make sure you hit the subscribe button here on our YouTube to not miss any of our content. We got you covered from interviews, insight, analysis, everything you need to stay up to date on everything around the team. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video.